To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture. Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the SteelTwins.
Yeah, man. Steelers Nation, how we doing tonight on this Wednesday night? It is June 5th. How you guys doing, man? Thank God for joining us tonight on this live stream.
On this Wednesday night.
This Wednesday night. Episode 79 of the Steeler Culture Podcast. Thank God for joining us tonight as we got some interesting discussion here.
Got a lot to talk about.
We have a decent amount to talk about tonight, seeing that there are not just one, but two familiar faces at OTAs now. One being Cameron Hayward, and the other
being another Cameron, and we're talking about Cam Sutton. He is back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is back repping the black and gold, and there's mixed emotions about this edition.
A lot of mixed emotions. We're going to give our opinions, our reactions to it, and what it could bring to the Pittsburgh Steelers. As well as, Cam Hayward coming back and what that can mean for him and what that can mean for the entire offseason. Because, with Hayward wanting an extension.
Yeah, I get it too, Cam.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. With Hayward wanting an extension, who else is in line for an extension? We'll talk about that tonight, man. So thank you guys for joining us on episode 79 on this Wednesday night. It's been a minute since we went live, man. It's been about, 3 weeks since the schedule was released?
Feels like it, yeah.
The schedule's been released, so we already know who we're opening the season up against the Atlanta Falcons, which should be a fun one.
Yeah, Artie Smith's old team.
Months away from that. But speaking of that, man, speaking of the schedule being released, that also means that tickets are on sale right now. Tickets are up for grabs. You guys can grab your tickets for any Steelers game anytime, any week this season. Right now, if you guys desire to. In fact, if you guys want to go to the preseason opener to go see Justin Fields in his first time as a Pittsburgh Steeler, you very well could. You could do it for as little as $8. Not even joking. As little as $8, you can go see Justin Fields for his first time.
You're telling me that they could go buy a ticket as much as Kenny Pickett?
Exactly.
Or Kenny Spinnett?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You could buy
What? Yeah, I know.
You could buy.
Yeah, the Kenny spin it. Yeah, you know.
No. Listen. Something just hit me. You could buy a ticket for the first preseason game for $8, which is more touchdowns than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
there we
we're
go.
enough with the Kenny Pickett digs. I'm serious. Seriously. We're past that.
Yeah,
now.
We're done.
We're past that now.
We're done.
I think so.
We're riding. now.
Anyway, we can. Yes, you guys can go to the first preseason game for as little as $8, or to go to any Steelers game for any week as you desire to in your area, or to enjoy the experience at Heinz Field, because we've been to one and only one game so far, which was the Titans game back in 2021, which was Ben's second to last home game. Froze our ass off, swear jar, but it was an incredible experience.
Big time.
But if you guys want to go, man, I highly advise that any chance you can go to a Steelers game, go to one, even if it's this season. And we got a treat for you. Thanks to our sponsor for tonight's podcast. Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring tonight's podcast, man. If you use the code SteelTwins at checkout, you will save $20 off of your first SeatGeek purchase. And that's not just in relation to the Steelers. That's in relation to any event you guys want to go to. Summer's out, concerts are everywhere, tours are around the world. You guys want to go to a concert, you guys can use the same code at checkout to save $20 in your first SeatGeek purchase to go to any event you want. But in relation to today, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
So shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's podcast episode. Now we're done with that gibberish, man. Cam Sutton. There was a poll in the chat for you guys. Steelers bring back Cam Sutton. Is it a good or bad move? According to 51 votes thus far, 92%, shout out to James Harrison, 92% say it is a good move. Interesting, man. I thought it would be a little more 50-50 in the poll, but Cam Sutton is back. You know, there were discussions, there were reports, there were rumors of this happening ever since the draft. Literally the second the draft ended, there was a report from Jerry Dulac that said that Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan met with Cam Sutton the week prior to the NFL draft in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
As we know, Cam Sutton is experiencing legal issues. He is experiencing some off-the-field issues. He is expected to get some discipline, not just by the NFL, but from the law as well, because he is charged with a misdemeanor after a domestic incident.
Yeah, some serious allegations
Serious
here.
shit, man. Some real bad stuff.
Yeah, it resulted in him being cut by the Detroit Lions just after signing a 3-year, $33 million contract. Only stuck with the team because of this incident, and now here he is. Here he is back with the Pittsburgh Steelers, given a second chance, and the Steelers are embedding their trust into Cam Sutton.
Yeah, and you know, how do I want to start this? I'll start it this way. There's no better second chance place for Sutton than Pittsburgh.
No, and that as far as his football career goes, as far as his life at the same time.
Yes.
There's no better coach that could quite honestly take Sutton under his wing once again and help him in this time than Mike Tomlin. Tomlin's a guy that has coached him throughout his entire career. He's watched this man grow as a player, as a person.
For 6 years.
The guy's
6 years.
The guy's pretty much a mentor to Sutton, I'm sure. So no, there's no better coach. Think of Tomlin how you want, but there's no better coach to take Sutton under his wing in this circumstance than Mike Tomlin.
And that's why he gets a lot of praise for being a coach of that sort. That's why he gets father figure-like talk from players and coaches and analysts and fans around the world, right? That's why Tomlin is so praised because of a situation like this with Cam Sutton. For those that don't really know, I'll get into all the specifics, all the raw stuff here. As we know, he signed with the Lions last year on a big contract, but that didn't last long. He was there for only 1 season, and the only reason the Lions cut him was because of the legal issues, because of what came out with his domestic violence warrant for arrest.
Yeah.
I think it was the day after that was made official, he was cut by the Lions. The Lions weren't having any of it.
Yeah, because Sutton was still on the run. He didn't turn himself in. He failed to do so, and the Lions were not having any of it. They cut ties with him completely, and shortly afterwards, Sutton thankfully turned himself in.
Yes. In fact, here are all the details. Sutton was accused of domestic battery by strangulation against his girlfriend in the early hours of March 7th. Sutton evaded police for several weeks, and the Lions released him the day after the incident became public. Sutton turned himself into the county sheriff's office March 31st, and he was released on his own recognize.
Jesus, man. That was back in March.
That was back in March. Prosecutors reduced the charge against Sutton to misdemeanor battery, which carries a maximum 1-year jail sentence. On April 8th, he entered a pretrial diversion program to resolve the case, which includes Sutton undergoing a mental health evaluation. Sutton is in some deep shit. Let's just be honest, man.
Big time.
He is expected to face punishment from the NFL. So Sutton is going to be given a second chance. He will be given a chance to mostly be the slot option at the cornerback position, because there's no way he's playing the boundary, not with Joey Porter Jr. and Dante Jackson as the starters.
No, that's not happening. He's purely a slot guy. He was a very good one early in his career at that. He has the outside flexibility if they absolutely need him to, but he's your starting slot option. You put him in there immediately, the guy can fill that position.
No, for sure. But that won't be until whatever week he's eligible to play, because I guarantee you he's going to be suspended.
No, the NFL is not going to let this slide.
It'll be a minimum. I would say it'd be a minimum 4-game suspension, maybe 2, but probably 4.
I wouldn't. Now, depending on what they find when it comes to the NFL's investigation, how much they find.
It's still an active case.
Yeah, whatever they find as far as what went down, what happened. And that information probably will never be public whatsoever. I don't think any of us really want to know exactly what happened. Whatever the NFL finds, they're not going to go out there and publicly say what happened, and therefore he's suspended for that amount of games.
Well, I'll put it out there like this. Sutton is a piece of shit. Okay, I'm not going to hold anything back. Anyone that is a woman beater, anyone that has a domestic violence charge against them, anyone that is a domestic abuser, and that goes both ways, they're a piece of shit. They lose all my respect. They lose all whatever in society to me. They're a piece of shit. They can't go back. The fact that he evaded police for several weeks, kind of guilty.
Yeah.
Just saying. So whatever punishment he's going to get, it's well deserved.
Listen, no man should ever lay a finger on a woman.
Well, it goes both ways. Any domestic abuser is a piece of shit, in my opinion. I'm not going to hold anything back tonight.
No.
So I do not view Sutton as a good individual anymore. You know, he never was a cancer. He was never a toxin in the locker room or off the field. He
never came off as that.
No, this was never an incident when he was with the Steelers in his first go-around. This only happened right after his first season with the Lions, and which was not a good season, by the way. But as a human being, as a person, yeah, I lost all respect. I lost all favor for Cam Sutton. But as a talent, clearly the Steelers still think they can utilize his talents to their best ability, to the team's best interest. And I will say this. People deserve second chances, but it's hard to view people like that in that sentiment, in my opinion.
No, I get what you're saying.
But if there is a place for a second chance, for the best chance for Sutton, it is Pittsburgh. And I don't think that Khan or Tomlin or the Steelers would have signed this guy if they didn't view Sutton as someone that is trying to get his life back on track. If he wasn't confident in building his character back up, and on getting his life and his career back on track.
Yeah.
I don't think the Steelers would have signed him if they didn't view Sutton as that.
Well, there's a reason why they held a meeting with him back in April, late April.
And there's a reason why they signed him today officially.
Tomlin and Khan sat down with him. They held a meeting, a private one, I'm sure, and they discussed what went down. They discussed what's going on, where Sutton is mentally, where he is physically, where he is as a human being. Tomlin's going to keep an eye on him. He's going to keep a close eye on him. And Omar Khan, with this signing, him bringing Sutton back, he's going to embed his trust into Cam Sutton.
Yes.
And Sutton bettering himself as a person, bettering himself as a human being, trying to move past this, trying to grow as an individual. Because Omar Khan is putting a lot of faith in Cameron Sutton.
Well,
because if Sutton were to do such an act once again, I mean, that doesn't put the Steelers in great light, signing
No,
a guy
but they
after
could
what
but
did.
they could cut him for no loss.
Yeah, I mean, they signed him for the vet minimum. I mean, it's barely anything.
Like, this is a signing to me that does not hurt whatsoever. It's not a big contract. It's nothing crazy. It's literally like a no harm, no foul sort of deal for the Steelers. It's an incredibly no-risk signing.
No.
They're not losing anything. If he messes up again, he's cut. If he sucks, he's cut.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. But the Steelers, they know Sutton as a player better than anybody because he was in the system for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in Terrell Austin's system. He's been with Tomlin. He's been in the organization. He is very familiar with a lot of the guys on the defense. Minka, Hayward, Highsmith, Watt, guys like that.
Yeah.
He's incredibly familiar. He was only gone for a year. So when it comes to him as a player, I do think it could be a positional upgrade, especially in the slot. He is not an outside cornerback. Us Steelers fans kind of already knew that, and then the Lions overpaid him, which was an absolute saver for Omar Khan, seeing, how that could have affected us in our cap situation, looking back on it in hindsight, in retrospect. But Sutton, the Lions gave him the contract, and he didn't have a good year at all.
No.
Not
and then that was
at
primarily because they had him at outside cornerback.
Yes.
He's not that. He's a slot guy.
No, I mean, he is what the Steelers would use in a lot of sub packages. They use him primarily in a lot of nickel packages and a lot of nickel situations. And then when it comes to like dime situations or sub packages, they can move him outside for a snap or two.
Yeah.
Very similar to what they did with James Pierre when James Pierre was used as that piece after Sutton left. Mm-hmm. Or like a Akello Witherspoon. I hate to bring that name up, but like an Akello Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Or a Levi Wallace when he first came in. I know, we're getting into trash corners. I'm sorry. But
I get what you're saying.
But that's what the Steelers, when they first extended him in 2021, the 2021 offseason, after the 2020 season, they let Mike Hilton walk, unfortunately, and they signed Cam Sutton back to a cheap deal. Mm-hmm. He was there for another 2 years, and they paired him with Joe Hayden in his last year. They paired him with Levi Wallace, and they paired him with Akello Witherspoon as the outside boundary corners. And he didn't show a lot of growth there. And that's when a lot of us as Steelers fans were thinking, you know what, this guy's just a primarily a slot corner. That's where he should be. That's where he should stand. And the Steelers didn't want to pay or overpay Sutton. They didn't want to battle with the Lions in a budget war,
in a bidding
contract
war.
war,
No,
in a bidding war.
Omar Khan's not going to do that.
No. So the Lions overpaid him. He had a bad year. In fact, I got the stats for you, at least according to PFF. Last year in total, Cameron Sutton allowed 60 receptions for 889 yards and 5 touchdowns to only 1 interception. He essentially gave up similar numbers to what George Pickens got in his rookie season.
Yeah.
Not a good year.
No.
Not good at all. That way, they're bringing him in as a slot corner only, which all of us agree that's his best area. That's where it should be. Will he be the day one starting corner? Will he be the immediate starter? I don't think so. And the reason being is because he should not be given in that chance. He should be given a chance to compete. That shouldn't just be handed to him. Let him compete with a Casey, with a Darius Rush, with a Beanie Bishop for that role. Those are the 3 guys that come to mind when it comes to who the Steelers could be looking at as a slot option, mostly. Right. But I think Sutton shouldn't be given the starting gig. If there's a favorite, it would probably be Sutton if his head's in the right place, but he shouldn't be given the opportunity. Well, he shouldn't be given
He should be given the opportunity, but no, he shouldn't just be handed. Not after everything that went down.
Yes.
Not everything that went down. The guy should come in and compete, absolutely.
Yes, but
nobody should just be handed the job because of, you were here before.
Right.
Or because, on paper, you're a better player than these guys. No.
Right.
No, you got to compete.
Or
competition is everything.
It's also a good depth move. If it's anything, it's a good depth move because we don't have depth. We don't. We have Darius Rush. We have Corey Trice, who Trice couldn't even get past, the first day of pads. And Darius Rush saw, 21 snaps last year? That's it. We got no depth. We got Ryan Watts, we drafted in the 7th round. He's another depth piece. He'll get his feet wet mostly in special teams. We have no depth. We have nobody after Dante Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. Knock on wood, one of them goes down. Who is your starting outside guy in an emergency? Nobody. That would have to be Sutton. which is not his best area, but he's better than what we would have.
Yeah.
At least based off his experience.
Based off that.
Right.
Correct.
But everyone stays healthy. You're looking at Dante Jackson. You're looking at Joey Porter Jr. and most likely Cameron Sutton as your starting
At
corners.
least on paper. That's as far as the cornerbacks go. The two outside, you got your nickel guy. And your secondary is loaded with Minka and Deshaun Elliott as your starting safeties.
Yeah, and in dime packages, you got Casey, you got Bishop you could use. You got maybe Darius Rush if they want to use
Trent
him there.
Thompson, maybe.
Right, Trent
potentially.
Thompson,
So like on paper, I mean, the defense is now completely fulfilled. It's solidified.
Yeah, in terms of what you're saying, every position is filled as of now. If Sutton is still the starter.
That's on paper.
Right.
That's on paper.
Right.
And Sutton was practicing in OTAs. He's wearing his old number back. He's given number 20 back again.
Yeah, the second he was announced as signed officially, he was there. It's like he's been in Pittsburgh since they met with him.
He was out there practicing, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean...
He signed on the dotted line and ready to work.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not in favor of Sutton and his character and the way his life went. You know, I view him as less of a human now. But in terms of a roster or a talent view, yeah, I think this could be a decent move for the Steelers. It could be one that was necessary. We'll see what he can do. We'll see if Sutton can get his life and then his career back on track. There's no better place for him to do that than Pittsburgh.
There's no better coach to help him aid in that journey than Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Got to give him that.
He's got leaders on the defense to set him in the right way. Sutton in the slot, I think, can be a solid piece. I think he can be the starter.
Yeah.
Because that's where he showed his best football. That's where he showed his best growth. Hell, what was it? What was the year? 2020? I think it was 2020. I know it was 4 years ago. But in 2020, I remember him in the nickel, him in the dime with Hilton was deadly.
Yeah.
The amount of forced fumbles and interceptions he would force for the defense.
that was a dominant duo. That was a dominant pairing.
So if the Steelers put Sutton back where he belongs, and Sutton has his mind in the right spot, yeah, this could be a very good signing.
yeah.
But as of now, like it's a neutral feeling for me because I do view him as a great talent, but I don't like the PR move by it.
No, and you're entitled to feel however you feel about Sutton as a person and as a player, as all you are as well. You know, however you feel about Sutton in this situation, you're entitled to feel exactly how you feel. There's no wrong in feeling that way. It's just a matter on what Sutton does with this second chance, how he takes this second chance, how far he runs with this second chance.
Absolutely.
The Steelers are giving him this opportunity, knowing the controversy that he's going to be bringing to the team, bringing to the talent. They're embedding their trust in Sutton to better himself. They're gambling on Sutton to grow.
I agree.
Not only as a player, but as a person. There's no better place, there's no better environment for Sutton to better himself as a person than what the team and the coordinates got around him right now. As far as the players are around with him and as far as the coach that he has now playing under.
Right.
Sutton's got to take the second chance and make it the most. If he doesn't, then he's done.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why this is a signing that can't hurt the team. This doesn't hurt whatsoever.
It will hurt Sutton more than the Steelers.
Absolutely.
That's why Sutton's got to make the most of it.
Yeah, it just doesn't hurt the Steelers in any way whatsoever.
How he does, we'll just have to wait and see how he does in practice and how it all translates to the football season.
Yeah.
We'll just see how that transpires.
Right.
But Steelers bring back Cam Sutton. They solidify the secondary pretty much on paper. We'll see what Sutton does with this.
We'll see what happens. But Sutton is back with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so get used to seeing number 20 as Sutton back on the field. We'll see what he can do as OTAs conclude shortly, as training camp is next month officially. And, of course, preseason's around the corner. So we'll see what happens, man. But Sutton's back.
And we'll see what type of discipline that he receives from not only the NFL but the law as well.
Right.
And whatever he gets, whatever they find, I mean, he does deserve it.
Right.
He put himself in this position.
Yeah, he did. He got no one else to blame but himself. But, I mean, he's given a second chance, so we'll see what happens. He's definitely an upgrade. I'll say that. If anything, he's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't tell you who our starting slot corner was. Now I know we can have a starting slot corner. Because any other corner that would have started in the slot has no starting experience there. At least Sutton does.
Yeah.
So there's an upgrade there. So Sutton's back, guys. How do you guys feel in the chat, man? 90%, 105 votes think that this is a good move. We'll see how it pans out for him, man. Good luck to Sutton, but we'll see how it pans out, man.
Yeah. Pittsburgh Steelers #1 fan with a $5 super chat says, now that we got Cam Sutton back, Omar Khan needs to get Cortland Sutton. No relation.
I agree. I'm still hell bent on them trading for Cortland Sutton.
As of now, I see him as the more likely option for the Steelers to get.
Yeah, out of everyone, I still think Cortland Sutton is the most likely because it's cheap. It's very cheap. We wouldn't have to give up anything big really for him.
No.
And if anything, he's here 1 year. You can cut your losses the next.
He already has that chemistry with Russell Wilson. The guy was a touchdown magnet last year.
And you have a pure wide receiver too, without having to force Roman Wilson into that role. Although I'm very excited to see what he can do with that first.
Yeah. And I'm hearing he's still standing out in OTAs.
Yeah,
which is great to hear.
That's no surprise. I mean, Roman Wilson's going to be a baller.
Yeah. But if the Steelers want to go bigger than Cortland Sutton, I mean, there's always Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel.
You see what the 49ers are doing?
Yes, I do.
You see what the 49ers are doing?
Yeah, they just gave Christian McCaffrey an extension. They just gave him a raise.
Not just that, they signed Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, and they drafted Ricky Pearsall.
Out of
in
all
the
the
first
wide
round.
receivers to give an extension, you give it to Juwan Jennings. No discredit to him, but
Should have been Super Bowl MVP if the Niners, didn't blow it.
agreed. But yeah,
Now, Jennings is good.
Yeah.
So it's like when it comes to Ayuk and Samuel, I don't know what's going on with that situation still. I know Ayuk is not at, I think it's mandatory minicamp for them at the moment. And
he is.
Ayuk, no, he's not.
Oh, he's not.
No, he's not. And if he's not there for the 3 days, then it's supposed to be like a hefty fine of a total of over $103,000 if Ayuk does not show up. I think I read that somewhere. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what I heard.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Wow.
If Ayuk doesn't show up, the fines get worse. Which
Really?
I believe he didn't show up today, so he got fined today. And I think the next 2 days is supposed to get worse.
There you go. According to Adam Schefter, this was 13 hours ago, a fine scheduled for missing mandatory minicamp. First day, $16,953. Second day, $33,908. Third day, $50,855. Total $101,716.
That's what it
By
is.
skipping mandatory minicamp, Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb and the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk will subject to $101,716 in fines.
So it's
They can wipe their ass with that money, but I mean, to a normal person like you and I, shit,
that's a lot of money. So they can either
in 3 days.
swallow their pride and show up at minicamp for the team, or they could just be like, "Give me my freaking money." Like, I don't care. Like that's nothing to me. Give me my money.
No, not if they get the extension they're looking for. Shit, they can wipe their ass 3 times with that money. Like,
As far as Ayuk goes, because, I mean, he's more of a likely target than CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys ain't going to get rid of CeeDee Lamb. I don't see it.
no, but you see all these wide receiver extensions?
Yes. Justin Jefferson just was paid the highest
bank.
non-quarterback total money in NFL history, like $35 million. And
35 a year.
yeah, I mean, listen, he's deserving. I mean, he's been one of the more consistent receivers coming out of 2020. But damn, 35 mil? Now, Ayuk ain't going to be touching that.
No, because the highest paid was what was it? I know it was Tyreek and it was Devontae, I believe.
I'm going to roll
Over
St.
30.
Brown when he got
St.
extended.
Brown.
St. Brown was up there. St. Brown was
You know
up there.
what? Now I want to look at the updated list. Highest paid wide receivers. I want to see the updated list now. I'm going to check over the cap. Justin Jefferson tops the list.
Of course, $35 million.
35 a year. Then A.J. Brown at 32. Then Amara at 30.
I forgot A.J. Brown got extended. That's right.
Yeah, then Tyreek. Then Jalen. God, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are each getting almost 30. Tyreek's getting 30. Waddle's getting 28 in the quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Nico Collins is getting 24 in a quarter. Whoo!
Yeah,
Damn.
Ayuk's looking at that. He wants to be somewhere in the middle. I would imagine he's
T.
going to want to be
Higgins is
somewhere
still
in
to
the middle.
come, bro.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Damn.
Yeah.
Swear
So we
jar.
got Brandon Ayuk, we got CeeDee Lamb, we got T. Higgins still to come as far as extensions. Am I missing anybody?
Bro,
And Ayuk is not going to budge. He's not going to
Ayuk
budge.
is getting more than Waddle.
Ayuk is going to want the most out of any other receiver.
He's not going to get the most.
He's going to want it. He's not going to budge.
He might not get it, but he's getting more than Tyreek. He's getting more than Amon-Ra. He might get more than AJ. He's getting $30 million. Months ago, when this was first talked about, we were thinking, okay, maybe he gets right around the middle, like where Cooper Kupp's at, with like 26-7, right? Nah, he's getting 30.
He's getting 30. He's not going to budge.
Is it by the Niners? I don't think so.
But they just extended McCaffrey.
The cap is a myth.
Probably.
But they got to trade either Debo or Ayuk. Could they trade Debo?
But I don't see the Niners lessening what they want. You know what I mean? They want some top-notch capital in return.
See, here's
But it comes at a point. If they can't come to terms on an extension, on the money that they want, do you just take whatever instead of nothing? If you're the Niners, if you're John Lynch? Like, say they won a first rounder. But they had to settle for a third.
I'm trying to think.
To get something, would you just do it?
To get something, if they're desperate, I don't know.
Instead of just letting the guy walk in and getting nothing in return?
Well, if that's the case, then yeah, they would just take whatever. But having to pay a guy like Ayuk $30 million, that's not worth a first rounder by any team. I'm sorry.
I don't think a team would be that desperate. I don't think a team would budge to give up a first.
No, not a first. But
Even if the team were to have like 2 or 3 other firsts, like I don't think it's happening.
The reason why I bring up Debo is because they've already extended Debo, and if they're going to trade one of them for their sake and the best of their franchise, it needs to be Debo. Why would you let Ayuk walk when he's younger? He's the better receiver. He's your number one, and John Lynch cannot sleep at night without even thinking of him not being a Niner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I looked at Debo's contract. I got it up here. Obviously, since it's past June 1st,
Yeah, it's June 5th. Almost June 6th.
these trades are a little more likely because these teams can split the dead cap hit in half from this year and next year compared to if they traded him before June 1st. So the cap hit is a lot, or the cap hit effect, or the dead cap hit of that is a lot less for these teams that would trade a receiver that has a big contract.
Yeah.
And it would welcome a trade a little more than it would a month ago. You look at Debo's contract, right? If the Niners were to trade Debo Samuel tomorrow, they would save essentially $22 million. Holy hell.
Yeah.
They would save $22 million by trading Debo Samuel. They would only lose $6.65 million in dead cap, but would suffer $15.1 million in dead cap next year in 2025.
It's more digestible.
It's a lot more digestible. But that $22 million savings
You could give
is insane.
You can give the majority of that to Ayuk.
You can give all of that to Ayuk.
Yeah. You
And then
really could.
some. So that's why I bring up Debo, because if there's one to be traded, it's not going to be Ayuk. The Niners aren't going to want to do that. It'll be Debo. Because they already have Debo's replacement. His name is Ricky Parasol.
Yeah.
He may not be able to be in the backfield. He may not be able to be as versatile as Debo, although I could definitely see him running the football, him being used in jet sweeps and wildcat situations. They could use him very similar to what they use with Debo. He's just not as big. But with Kyle Shanahan, the way he runs his scheme and his receivers, yeah, I mean, they can replace Debo.
Yeah, if you remember scouting and looking at Ricky Parasol's tape, I mean, as soon as the ball snapped, the guy's a freaking nature out there.
Yeah.
Especially with his route running. Oh,
Absolutely.
My God.
So that's why I bring up Debo, because, like, yeah, that could happen. I think that's most likely. Like, if the Niners are going to trade anybody, it's going to be Debo. But I also don't want to look at just Debo as an option because, again, it's past June 1st, so some of these teams with wide receivers that got big contracts can trade these guys, being a lot more digestible in taking what they got to take after trading the receiver. Who else that could be, I don't know. All I can think of is Debo right now.
What about DK?
Metcalf.
What about DK? You know, that was a bit of a discussion on Steelers social media, just last month.
Yeah, because of what Brian McFadden
The significant playmaker, although he deleted the tweet.
Maybe it was maybe he was talking about Cameron Sutton.
You're telling me that significant playmaker was Cameron Sutton?
Yeah. He told us be patient. I'm just trying to give him some credibility.
Geez, we didn't even need Scooby in the gang. We
I'm
just
trying to give him some credibility. Okay, let's talk about DK, right? Let's talk about DK. Since it's past June 1st and the Niners, if the Seahawks want to trade DK now or tomorrow, for example, they would save $13 million in cap space. They would suffer $11.5 million in dead cap between this year and next year.
So it's a split.
An even split.
Yeah.
While saving 13 the second that trade is official.
Could do it.
I could see it.
They could do it.
They still got Lockett. They drafted
Jackson Smith
and Jigba last year, you know, so it could happen.
Yeah.
It could happen. But I also don't want to get my hopes up about the Steelers trading for a wide receiver, although that's still a lot of people's hope, and that's still a lot of people's anticipation leading up to preseason or this season, the regular season, right? That's still some people's anticipation is, could they still trade for wide receiver because it's still a big hole? And you're right, it is. And I don't rule it out because I do believe Omar Khan and company have had talks with so many of these teams. In fact, it's been reported that they have had talks with at least 6 teams.
They've reached out. They've reached out to a few teams.
And two of them canceled them immediately. One of them we know was the Broncos with Cortland Sutton. So it could still happen. Mm-hmm. They have had discussions, or they've tried to have discussions, so they're keeping their minds open. Just because they're having discussions at that moment doesn't mean a deal is going to happen right then and there. This is months of discussing, months of build-up. So it might not happen as soon as they start talking. This could happen throughout the season. This could happen during a trade deadline. Maybe these trade talks are just kind of saved from these organizations, from these front offices.
Yeah.
That way, when the trade deadline comes around, and let's say the Steelers still need a wide receiver too by midseason, all those trade talks they've had will come right back up, and they can make a deal if they need to.
Yeah.
But like we stated in a previous video, Roman Wilson, I am very confident he can be the wide receiver too. In fact, I want him to be given the chance before we trade for anybody, or if the Steelers ever trade for anybody.
And I think that's what's going to happen throughout training camp and preseason. The people that they acquired in free agency, Van Jefferson and Scotty Miller and Quez Watkins, guys like that, and drafting Roman Wilson, they're going to be given an opportunity to compete in training camp for them to showcase their ability to fill that wide receiver 2 position.
Absolutely. And the way I see it, if he does pan out, if he is the wide receiver 2, if he puts up wide receiver 2 numbers, or is just a very good wide receiver 2, if he's what Mike Tomlin's been salvaging over since the Reese's Bowl, right? This the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Then the Steelers could still trade for a wide receiver. It just won't be like a DK. It won't be a Debo. It won't be an Ayuk. It won't be any of these big franchise names, man. It could just be for a better depth guy. Who that could be, I don't know. Could be anybody, really. But it might not be the trade all of us are anticipating. It might not be the trade all of us want. But it could be one of those that betters the team and betters the roster from the wide receiver look. Roman Wilson, and let's just hypothetically talk. Roman Wilson's putting up great numbers. He's showing you he can be the wide receiver too.
Yeah.
But anyone else behind him, not so much. So the Steelers are going to make a trade for a depth piece, and here we go. Who that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But just throwing out there, if they ever trade for wide receiver, it could be the big name that we're all anticipating, that we all might want secretly. But it could not be, and they could just make a trade that is for a little lesser-known guy just to better the room, better the dependability.
Yeah, especially if the guys that they got now don't stand out. They don't, even as a wide receiver 3, as a depth piece, you know, they don't really go out there and perform. Then, yeah, absolutely. I feel like that would be necessary.
Yeah.
Big time.
Absolutely. So there's still talks there. There's still thoughts, you know, week by week that it could happen. And the fact that it's now past June 1st, it makes it a lot more likely. It might not be so immediate, but it's always, a likely scenario when it comes to the Steelers in their room. But I do want them to give Wilson the role, the opportunity first and foremost. I think he should get it. Mike Tomlin views him enough to give him the opportunity, and let's see if he runs with it, man. I want to see what the guy's got.
Yeah.
I want to see what he can do, man. He's shining in OTAs. I can't wait till training camp, preseason, to see what type of electric football player we could have at wide receiver. And the Steelers, man, obviously we know the history of wide receivers, so why should we doubt them ever drafting one?
Yeah.
Why should we ever doubt a guy like Roman Wilson until proven otherwise to be the receiver too? Give him that time. Give him that chance. So it's throwing it out there, man. Let's talk about Cameron Hayward.
Yes.
Cameron Hayward is back, ladies and gentlemen. His holdout is finished. And I don't know if this is due to the mandatory minicamp fines that were to come. I don't know who that exactly pertains to. But Cam Sutton's back. Cam Hayward is back. He has returned to OTAs. He has joined the offseason programs for the first time this offseason just yesterday. He came back to the OTAs, and he had something interesting to say. Rob, you wanna tell him what he said?
Well, pretty much he stated that, he's here for the team. And as far as his contract situation goes, he pretty much alluded that he and the Steelers are still in negotiations, but they're nowhere near close to what Hayward is looking for.
I don't know what he's looking for, but yeah, I wouldn't think that he is close.
Now, Hayward alluded that he wants to be a one-helmet player. He wants to stick with the team. He wants to be a Steeler for life.
Yeah.
He arguably already is.
We all want that.
He wants to play for one team in his career.
We all want that.
He says he still believes that he can still play for 3 more years. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm not Cameron Hayward, so I don't know how he's feeling. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know how his body feels. That only Cam Hayward knows that. If he thinks he can play for 3 more years, hell yeah, go for it. But as long as he stays healthy, as long as it's at a reduced pay, as long as it's at a team-friendly deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could just come down to Hayward just wanting to be here for the next 3 years, Maybe he doesn't have to. He's going to want a decent price, don't get me wrong. He's going to want a hefty payday. But it could just come down to him wanting to be here for another 3 years.
3 years is a stretch at his age. He's coming off an injury last year. And granted, he's fully healthy now.
Yeah.
So maybe a fully healthy Hayward can still be what he thinks is a top 5 player at his position. Before his injury, before last season, he had back-to-back 10-sack seasons. Let's not forget that. So if Hayward can still play at a decent level at a reduced payment, you're not gonna hear a no from me. You're not. But it's got to be that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's not, then Hayward, listen, I apologize. I thank you for everything, but we got to cut the cord at some point. We got to move on. We got to do what's best for the franchise.
Yeah.
We did that with Ward. We did that with Polamalu. We should have done that with Ben, but we didn't. And
yeah.
just saying, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, we stretched.
The team, sometimes the team knows when to walk away from a legend, and sometimes the team doesn't. It's no disrespect to Hayward, but it's just business.
Yeah. Now, coming off, it was a groin injury that he was dealing with. He missed several games, and his play was impacted due to it. And his absence was, impacted the team and the defensive line play, surely.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. When it comes to Hayward, coming off an injury like that at his age, and, Father Time catches up eventually.
Yep.
We always preached about Hayward. As he got older, he got better. He aged like fine wine. But eventually, Father Time catches up to everybody.
Yes.
And coming off an injury, I need to see more from Hayward as far as a availability aspect. You know what I mean?
I understand. Shout out to John Burke, who joined the FCN. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, John.
But yeah, no, I agree. Granted, he was healthy his last 2 years before last season.
Yes, he was. I'm not disputing that.
Right, but at his age, you're right. It's a concern. So I don't blame Hayward. Listen, it's athletes do this all the time. Ben still did it. Ben did it in his last couple of years.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm sure, still thinks like, hey, I still got some in me. I can still go when he couldn't. To a certain degree, maybe, but
not prime.
No,
not prime.
no,
Ben, no.
obviously not. But it's just they still think they got it, and you can't fault them for thinking that. And maybe they still do. I want to see a fully healthy Hayward this year.
That's upcoming season.
And I want to see what he can still bring to the table.
Yeah.
Because if he still plays like a top 5 guy at his position, like he stated, yeah, I'd extend him.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't extend him before the season. If I am Omar Khan and the Steelers, I am not extending Hayward until after the season. I am going to see what he can offer. I'm going to see what he can do at his age. And if he puts up a season like he did in 2021 or 2022, yeah, come back.
Yeah.
Come back. We'll have you for another 2 years or so, right?
Yeah.
Sign him to a 2-year deal, a decent offer for him. Yeah, he can play 3 years. Right?
Yeah.
I'd sign him to a 2-year deal.
See, because he's 35 years old right now, again, coming off a groin injury, When it comes to this contract situation, Hayward needs to prove himself as far as an availability aspect. I don't dispute. I'm not taking anything away from what he does on the field. What he does on the field is incredible.
Right.
Even at his age, he can still play. He can still go. It's him coming off an injury as he's getting older is what I am concerned about.
As you should be.
When it comes to the years, if he gets an extended, hypothetically speaking, the years that we could potentially extend him and the hefty price pay that we may be paying him when it comes to other guys that we'll talk about later on in the show that are also deserving of an extension.
Absolutely, and where that cap space could go to them for the better of this franchise. And again, that's no disrespect to Hayward, but it's just business. And Hayward, like it would be in my opinion, it would be bad business by the Steelers to extend Hayward before seeing what he could offer still at his age. Because then if you extend him before the season and then he gets hurt again or he doesn't play to the standards as we want to see him, then you're locked in a bad contract. And they've already done that with certain legends in the past. I'm not doing that. Not when we got to extend certain guys on the offense.
Yeah.
On the O-line. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Like, it's just simple business.
Yeah.
Nothing disrespectful. Nothing that's, disheartening or anything that he did for them in the past, right? We're all incredibly thankful for that.
Yeah.
It's just business. If I'm the Steelers, if I'm Khan and company, I'm not extending him until we see what he can still offer.
Yeah. Now, Hayward did allude, in his interview at OTAs when he came back yesterday, he said he still believes that he is a top 5 player at his position.
Right.
That is an arguable discussion still at his age. That is an arguable discussion. It really is.
I would have agreed with that after 2022. Coming off the injury last year, and he did have a down year, and I'm sure the injury was lingering, but when he was on the field, it's almost like he wasn't because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, that might be the injury talking, but after 2022, yeah, I would have agreed. But last year, with the injury lurking around and everything, he didn't play like it.
Yeah.
And like you stated, at his age, it's just...
It's a worrisome thing, yeah.
Exactly.
It's a worrisome thing that lingers in the back of your head. It's like, he was a great player, and he still is a great player, but those injuries, they can catch up to you as you get older.
Right.
And him wanting a contract. Say he has another stellar year. He's a top 5 player at his position like he believes he is. He goes out there, he performs like we all hope that he does. When it comes to the negotiations, if I were the guy offering him a contract, if I was Omar Khan, I would do at least, considering that he's playing this upcoming year, so that's 1 year, right? Mm-hmm. Then I would do at least a 2-year extension.
That's what, yeah.
A 2-year deal with an opt-out option after next season.
Or if they wanted to, they could add some voided years in his contract, depending on what financials they work out.
They could do that too. As far as the price goes, maybe they add some incentives as far as snaps he plays or sacks he gets or games he plays and whatnot. You know what I mean?
I think that's incredibly fair business.
Some incentives for Hayward to potentially get if you were to live up to those incentives. I think a 2-year deal with whatever price you want to throw out there with extra incentives for Hayward to potentially get, I think it's a fair deal. I feel like it's a fair deal if Hayward goes out there, he performs, he balls out, and Steelers could look at wanting to keep one of their stud defensive players on the team still.
Yes, I agree entirely. If he can still showcase that he can play to a certain level, I have no issue keeping him around. I don't care if he's 40 years old and still playing. If you can play a certain level, you're playing. You can gladly wear the black and gold if you can still play some football.
Yeah.
Right? It's just from a business aspect, the Steelers shouldn't give him anything yet because they got to see what he can still offer at his age. Like we stated, if he proves himself, 2-year extension, come back.
Yeah.
You know, let's keep this train rolling. Let's try to get you one before you exit out, right? Let's get you a ring. Let's get your brother a ring. You know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be great. Another positive with keeping Hayward around, though, and one of the few positives with keeping Hayward around if they were to extend him before the season starts, is they would have a defensive lineman on the roster alongside Keanu Benton after 2024. Now, they still have Benton. They still have, I guess, Logan Lee now since they drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Larry Ogunjobi, as of now, under contract after 2024. I don't think Ogunjobi stays. I think he's going to be a cap cut. I think he's going to be one of those financial cuts.
Yeah.
Those cap casualties is what they call it, you know? So with that possibly happening and them extending Hayward, they would have Benton and Hayward still as confirmed starters if they don't cut ties with Hayward, depending on what happens with his performance and whatnot. That is if they extend them before the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, that's probably the only positive I can find is they would have a definite starter that they wouldn't have to worry about. That wouldn't take defensive line off the draft boards. That wouldn't take defensive line off of the top needs next year because it still is, whether Hayward's back or not.
No, it still is.
It still is. In the draft, I'm definitely drafting one high. I don't care if Hayward's still here. I'm drafting one high
Yes.
because I think Ogunjobi could still be a cap casualty. We got Benton. We could still have Hayward. We still need another guy. We need someone to breed underneath Hayward, right? Very much like the Steelers did with Stephon Tuitt when they had Brad Keys on his last year in 2014.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they could very well still do that. I want to take D-line off the top of the draft boards.
No, that doesn't change whether Hayward sticks around or not.
No.
But again, like we alluded, like we feel like that Hayward needs to prove himself coming off an injury and based off, at his age, being 35 years old. We feel like it would be more appropriate for him to prove himself this upcoming season. Then it'd be more tolerable for him to be extended than be extended this upcoming during this offseason because there's a good bit of names that the Steelers still got to look at extending.
Yeah, there is. We do believe, we are under the impression that someone is going to be extended this offseason because it's just that perfect time frame for Omar Khan to sign people to extensions. That way they're not free agents in the impending year. You know, he's done that in years past. After the 2022 draft class and Kevin Colbert resigned and then Omar Khan became GM, he wasted no time to re-sign Deontay Johnson, who's now gone, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Chris Boswell. Those were three impending.
Can't forget about Alex Highsmith last offseason.
Yeah, but those were guys that are going to be impending free agents after that season. And he extended those guys before preseason even started.
Yeah.
Before training camp even started. So who is next in line this upcoming offseason? Now, if you were to ask me this question a month ago, the first name that would have come to mind was, James Daniels. James Daniels. Well, according to a recent report from Steelers Now, that might not happen. He was asked by a Steelers Now reporter that has he had any discussions of extension? Has the Steelers and him have any discussions of an extension? And James Daniels said no. They told me nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why. I think that'd be a big concern. I think that'd be a big mistake if the Steelers don't bring back James Daniels. He's arguably our best offensive lineman. He's been under the system for 2 years now. He's still only 26 years old. Like, why would they not keep him around?
Yeah, with so much playing and starting experience. Like, he's still so young, but he's so good. He is our best lineman.
Why would he not be extended by the Steelers? Now, the only reason I could think of that is one of two reasons. One, they don't want to pay him the cap market. They don't want to pay him market value. And we all know the guard market has exploded thanks to the Panthers alone. Mm-hmm. It's exploded, but you got to pay good players market value. It's just business. It's just the way the NFL is ran nowadays. You pay good players the market value. As messed up as it is, as crazy as it is, it's what you got to do. You pay good players the market value. James Daniels has shown he is worth that. Either they don't want to extend him because of that, or because they view a Mason McCormick, who they drafted in the 4th round, as his replacement. And Omar Khan did allude to that after he drafted him. He said, we drafted Mason McCormick because there's a possibility James Daniels and Nate Herbig, who are both in contract years, cannot be extended. So we wanted an insurance policy, a backup plan in that regard.
Yeah.
Now, after the draft, you and I were confident that James Daniels is going to be extended before preseason. And Mason McCormick could very well be a future starter at left guard, replacing Seumalo.
Yeah, because if you remember, McCormick was a full-time left guard at South Dakota State.
For 3 years. A 3-year starter.
At left guard. Now, when rookie minicamp first started, they ended up putting McCormick over at right guard. They test him out over there, and I believe they're still doing it around OTAs.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to keep his versatility going, and McCormick has no problem with it because very similar to what Fatanu said about the Washington coaching staff, he didn't play right tackle in college, but they were very good at cross-fitting, cross-practicing these positions in case of anything were to happen. Although they never played the position in an actual game, they never played a legit snap at those positions, they have that cross-training at that position. So for Fatanu, he never played right tackle, but he has the flexibility because of the experience in practice.
Yeah.
McCormick never played right guard, but has the experience because of what the Steelers are doing and what he learned in college.
Yeah.
Right? So they could move there. They're comfortable there because they've it's not a foreign language to them. It's not like, hey, this is your first time playing this position. Learn it.
Yeah.
They have some minor experience, but it's experience. But we would just feel better with them putting him in his natural position at left guard and replacing Seumalo, because Seumalo, who's 31, has 2 years left on his contract, but he could also be a cap casualty after next season.
Yeah, if they needed to be. That way McCormick's there at left guard, and then we're looking potentially next season, we're looking at Broderick Jones left tackle, Mason McCormick left guard, we're looking at Zach Frazier center, we're looking at James Daniels potentially getting a long-term extension at right guard, and then you got Troy Furtanu over at right tackle. That is a young stud offensive line for years to come.
You have an incredibly young offensive line for a minimum of at least 3-4 years, if it all pans out. That's how we viewed it after the draft, but according to this report from Steelers Now, according to James Daniels and what he told them, he said nothing's going to happen. He said, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Why would the Steelers not extend James Daniels? Why?
See, here's my thing, because that's when I first heard about this, I was pushed back. I'm like, really? I'm like, this is kind of crazy because the Steelers, when it comes to trade talks about a wide receiver, it doesn't appear that they have any problem paying a wide receiver big money. That doesn't seem to be the problem. The problem is how much trade capital they have to give up for said wide receiver. If they want to pay a wide receiver this much big money, why wouldn't they do it for
an offensive lineman where they couldn't find a gem there for years now? When they can draft a wide receiver and develop the next great guy?
Like it's nothing. Like
they're not even trying.
Yeah, they don't have to try with the Steelers.
Well, they've tried for how many years to get a guy like James Daniels on the roster, on their line? I want to let him walk. I'd hope that there would be some discussion at some point, but according to Daniels and what he told Steelers Now, it's just not going to happen. It boggles my mind. Like, why would they do that? Why would they not try to extend Daniels?
Maybe they're just not, I don't know. Maybe they're just not doing it at the moment, although I don't know why you would wait till later. I'd be doing it ASAP. I'd be making sure, hey, we got to get this guy locked down. We brought him in here 2 years ago. The guy's been a stud over our right guard. He's been a hell of a standout player for us. We got to keep him. He's still young. He's got plenty of experience. We got to keep him with this team.
Yes.
I would not wait to talk extension with James Daniels. I'd be doing it ASAP.
Right.
I'd be doing it ASAP. Maybe they do down the line. I don't know. Fingers crossed, because me and Dan feel here that James Daniels is worth a long-term extension.
Yes. Especially since, I look at Highsmith last year. There were talks of him and the Steelers having negotiation talks about a new contract. I think it was before or right after the draft. Like there were talks in May that they were getting an extension going. Now we're in the first week of June and there's no discussion, no reports of James Daniels getting an extension. So that doesn't make me feel confident that Daniels is going to be extended. Unless they want to wait out until next season, until next offseason. But if that's the case, some team is going to pay him more than you will.
Yeah, I mean, you're risking. You're risking your most stud offensive lineman walking in free agency because there will be a team out there that will pay him.
Right.
That will snag him.
But in the Steelers thinking, they have what they think and what they hope is their replacement. McCormick.
Sure.
And if they do, then McCormick's your replacement. That's a solid replacement if he lives up to the pedigree that the Steelers graded him at, right? Mm-hmm. But then Sayamalu is in his last year in 2025 if they retain him at left guard. He'll be 32 at the time. Then you got to find a new left guard. It just doesn't sound feasible. It doesn't sound the most.
Or do they extend
long-term
Sayamalu,
success.
but how much are they going to extend Sayamalu? How much would they be willing to extend Sayamalu?
I don't know. Not his age. Not his age.
I mean, quite honestly, and listen, I like Sayamalu. You know, I appreciate everything that Sayamalu has done since he's joined the team.
Oh yeah, he's been a good signing. He's been a very good signing.
But me and Dan here, we're just trying to look out for the future of the offensive line.
Yeah, and especially since you have the least paid offensive line in the entire, or the least paid offense in the entire league.
Yeah, entirely.
Like, what is paying a guard $20-something million gonna do? In fact, hold on. What is the highest paid guard value?
Ain't that Robert Hunt?
I think so, but I don't know how much. I know the market flew, but I don't know what the actual numbers are. Chris Landstorm with 20 and a half. Chris Landstorm of the Falcons. Robert Hunt with 20 flat.
Bro, that's doable.
Is James Daniels going to really commend 20? Maybe. But if that's the case, I mean, you have the least paid offense in the entire league. What is paying a guard $20 million a year going to do?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay a quarterback big money, most money in the league for a long time.
No.
Fucking do it. You got George Pickens coming up. Fucking do it. You might trade for a receiver. I'd still fucking do it.
What about Najee and Warren? What about Najee and Warren?
Pay him. Pay him both.
You want to talk about freaking players that have carried this offense for years? You want to talk about people that have showcased how important they are to this football team, to the offense? Can't look any more better than Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren together.
I mean,
as proven talent, as capable, reliable, dependable talent.
Since we're on the topic of guys next in line for an extension,
it's those two.
I mean, let's look at the list here. We already discussed Cam Hayward. We discussed James Daniels. Dante Jackson, they're going to see what he can do. They're not going to extend him. Justin Fields, maybe, because they don't have a quarterback under contract after 2024. I am of the belief Justin Fields will be extended at a cheap deal, and he'll be given an opportunity to start in 2025.
Yeah, very Jordan Love-esque.
Very much so. Or very much like when Mason got his first extension before the draft years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
Very, very similar there. I think Fields could very well be next in line for an extension. I don't know if he's at the top of their priority, but I could see him being extended before the season starts, just to make sure they have a guy at the quarterback room in 2025. Nate Herbig, I think they're going to see what he can do. I don't think they're going to view him as a priority there, at least not now. Landon Roberts, I could see getting extended. They're going to want bodies in the linebacker room. We don't know where Cole Holcomb sits at in his recovery. Mm-hmm. We know they got Queen, they got Peyton Wilson, who are two incredible additions. But I could definitely see them wanting to extend Roberts as that run defending, that pass rush linebacker, that sub-package linebacker.
That leader in the front seven.
KZ, I think they're going to wait and see what he does. I mean, he's 32 coming in this year. It just doesn't sound as feasible, so they're going to let his contract pay out. Pat Freiermuth. If they didn't give Najee the fifth-year option, and they declined that, and they have no vision of extending him, why would they extend Muth?
Yeah.
I'm putting Najee first. I'm putting Warren right before Muth as well.
Quite honestly, yes.
So I think I think out of this entire list, Muth, Herbig, and Jackson, and I guess you got to put in James Daniels and maybe Hayward as guys that are going to have their contracts play out, and they'll see what they discuss next offseason.
Yeah, they're pretty much in the category of prove-it years.
Right.
And Najee Harris.
Yes. But everyone else here, I could see Roberts getting extended. I could see Justin Fields getting extended. And like we're stating, Najee, I mean, it's rare someone gets their fifth-year option declined and then gets extended the same offseason, but it could happen. But they know they have a running back in Jaylen Warren. Not officially under contract next year, but he's a restricted free agent, so he will be tendered. But he shouldn't just be tendered.
No, and that'd be very Mike Hilton-esque. Remember when he was a restricted or exclusive restricted free agent, whatever?
One of the two, yes. He kept getting tendered.
Yeah, it's like, bro, give this man the pay raise. Give this man the extension. He's earned it. He's deserved it.
Right.
We feel the same way about Jaylen Warren. Like there's no like backpedaling on an extension. Like, it's okay, we can just tender you. No, pay the guy.
Yes.
Keep the guy.
So, like, a month ago, if you would ask me who's next in line for an extension from the Steelers, I would have said James Daniels, but apparently not. Now, I don't know who. I see Fields, I see Roberts, but I would hope Najee and Warren are next in line because you got to keep the run game going. You got to keep those two going without obviously overpaying the market because you just don't do that at the running back position. I'm sorry, but you just don't. But I would definitely extend those guys.
Yeah.
100% I would extend those guys. If James Daniels isn't at the top of their priority, you still got to rely on the ground game and pay those guys, first and foremost.
Big time.
It's Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. And then after that, maybe Fields, maybe Roberts, and I still hope deep down James Daniels. I just think Omar Khan's going to get someone extended. He's going to extend somebody because he does it every offseason. Or at least he has done it every offseason thus far. He's done it right before preseason has started. Every offseason he's been GM thus far.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, Deontay, Boswell, Minka, and, of course, Highsmith last year. Mm-hmm. Hell, it's not just an Omar Khan thing. The Steelers have been doing it for years now. They did that with Watt when they extended him. They did that with Hayward's last big contract. You know? Like, they are paying these guys right before preseason really hits. So who's next in line for the Steelers this year? It could be nobody. But from their recent trend since, I don't know, like 2019, 2020, something like that.
Yeah.
They've extended somebody right around that time frame. We hope James Daniels, but it doesn't sound like it. So, yeah, Najee and Warren should be first and foremost.
Yeah, they should be up there.
Warren is technically not under contract, but is technically going to be tendered. Because why wouldn't they? So he'll be under contract next year after 2024. Najee won't, but I wouldn't let Najee walk. I wouldn't overpay him, but I'd give him a second contract, and that's it. I'd give him like a 2-3 year contract at his age.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll play out the entire contract. Depends on performance and how his body pays up at that position. But I'd give Najee 2 contracts minimum. I think he's deserving. I think he's earned it. I think he's done well enough with the circumstances he has had to endure, unfortunately.
Oh, he's proven it time and time again.
And Warren, same thing there. A little more explosive as a running back. A little more dependable, in my opinion.
With the worst offensive line play, probably in Steelers history, with the worst offensive coordinator that we've ever seen.
And the worst quarterback. Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Spin It.
Yes, pay the guys.
Yeah.
Pay the guys. If it's not Daniels, it's those two. And then everyone else you can worry about.
Yeah.
But it's those two. So who's next in line for an extension? I would say, yeah, them. Or could it be George Pickens?
Yeah, George Pickens,
Coming in his third year.
Especially if he breaks out into his third year with how young he still is.
Would they extend Pickens? I don't mean to cut you off. Would they extend Pickens this year? Or would they wait to see?
I could see it, but I think they're also going to want to see what he does with Wilson.
I agree. I think they're going to see what he does as a wide receiver 1. Truthfully, this year. He's been wide receiver 1 last 2 years. But officially, he's the wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
They're going to see what he does this year. And then I guarantee he's going to blow off the scene like he has the last 2 years. He's a fucking dog. Swear jar.
Yeah.
Then he's going to be getting a bad contract.
And that's for next offseason. That's where Omar Khan really has to balance out and really pick and choose who he's going to want to keep. Because all these free agents that we talked about coming into next offseason, Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, James Daniels, Cameron Hayward, Guys like that, Justin Fields. I mean, that's just barely half of the names. You know what I mean?
Or you know what? Since we're on the topic of who they could extend this upcoming offseason, maybe it's just nobody. And the reason for that is because maybe they do have aspirations to trade for a big receiver and pay them big cash. And they know they can't do that if they extend certain individuals.
They could.
Now, again, most of that cap space won't really go into effect until 2025.
Yeah, to which I should point this out. The anticipated cap space that the Steelers are supposed to have for next year is over $90 million. It's a good bet.
Woo!
That's money the Steelers never
When was
see.
the last time we
That's
had
money
that?
the Steelers never see. Now, that's the anticipated cap space Steelers are supposed to have. And with the amount of free agents that they're supposedly going to be having, they can be able to pay the guys that they may be looking to re-sign if need be.
Shit.
As well as trading for a big-name wide receiver if they still want to.
You got no excuse to not extend Daniels or Najee or Warren or a receiver if you trade for one. Even Hayward, if he lives up to, not lives up, if he proves himself this year.
Yeah.
And when I mean prove himself, I mean like at his age.
Availability.
Right. So like you got no $90 million. Holy shit.
So the Steelers.
I remember when we were starting to get 5.
Yeah, we were just fucking scrapping.
The Kevin Colbert days, man. Oh my god.
Just scrapping.
Oh my god. 90, bro?
Yes.
Woo!
So the Steelers can absolutely extend and re-sign some of the guys before preseason even hits, if they want to. Or they could see if these guys prove it once again, if they prove it to the team, and then they go into next offseason, but that's a bigger risk with free agency hitting up, and they could very well just listen to other offers. Some other teams could be paying them more than what the Omar Khan and Steelers are going to be offering, and then they're kind of shit out of luck of the amount of talent that they could be leaving out.
Right.
They could be missing out on and retaining.
Yeah.
So Omar Khan's going to he's going to have to pick and choose. He's going to have to really weigh his options.
And I mean, he's very, very intelligent. Like every method of his has a madness. You know what I mean? Like he's thinking long term. He's thinking what's best for the franchise.
He doesn't make a decision without having a solution at the end of it.
Right.
But Khan's really going to have to think about who's going to want to keep and who's going to want to go. Do I think he keeps everybody on that free agency list? Absolutely freaking not. There's no way.
No.
There's people that I prefer them to keep. I want them to keep Daniels. I would like them to keep Harris and Warren. If they want to keep Hayward, then, as long as it's for the right price.
Yeah.
Muth, if he shows out and proves himself, as long as it's for the right price. Fields, for the right price.
Or even Roberts. Or maybe these guys just don't get extended. Maybe Hayward, this is his last year. Roberts, maybe this is his last year as a Steeler. Like that could be cap saved. And they spend that cap to certain players. You know what I mean? But I'd also just like to think that Khan will want to eliminate some of that this year. Very similar to when he extended Deontay and Minka and Boswell. Those are 3 impending free agents after that season.
Yeah.
And he got rid of all that.
Yeah, he made sure that they weren't going anywhere.
So would he want to do that this year, especially with a lot of those names being on the offensive side of the football?
And those are guys that, are anchors on this offense.
Yeah.
You got to keep them.
Yeah.
I would like to think that Khan wants to keep them. Why would he want them to walk away?
Well, according to reports, it says otherwise.
Maybe there's smoke screens.
I don't know.
Maybe there's smoke and mirrors.
There's a long, or you know what? I'll throw this out there, man. Let's say the Steelers do trade for a wide receiver, right? Maybe they're not extending Daniels because they view Daniels as a trade candidate.
You think they put him in the trade package?
Yeah.
But then McCormick's starting right out the gate, day one starter.
I'm not saying they would have to trade Daniels before the season.
Before the trade deadline, potentially.
Could be midseason. Maybe they see
trade
enough.
Deadline,
maybe they see enough in McCormick. I wouldn't be in favor of that. I'm just throwing it out there because I just don't know why they wouldn't extend Daniels.
I just prefer to keep him.
I would too.
I prefer to keep him. If you can get him a little bit less than $20 million, I mean, that's great.
Right.
But if you have to give him $20 million, I mean, I'm not going to say no to that because Daniels is still a young stud with plenty of starting experience and just a hell of a talent.
Yeah, I agree.
A hell of an anchor on that offensive line.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not letting Daniels walk. I'm not overpaying him, but I'm paying him enough. And if it's got to be 20, I think that's the market. That's the market. If you got to keep him, that's the market.
So, well, you got to pay good players market value. You know what I mean?
I'm not paying him like 25. I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm not even paying him 22.
No, I'm not even paying him 21, bro. But nah.
If it's got to be at the market price just to keep him,
I don't even think Dino's going to cost that much.
maybe not. Maybe
He
not.
might get a Zach Martin contract, or it's like 18-something mil.
I mean, the guy's got
Not as rich.
6 years experience.
Yeah,
I mean, like, damn. Still at his age.
I know, man. We'll see what happens. Something might not even happen, but time will tell. It's just our point of view. This is these are reports. These are talking points that have been mentioned, that have been pretty much thought about for a while now, and that's our opinion on it, man. That's how we really feel. But Khan he has a method here. He has some real digestive thinking here.
Yeah, I mean, Khan's done more than enough to instill trust into him. Like, we trust Omar Khan completely.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to see how he handles this amount of free agents. Being the GM now.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't want to lock himself in rough spots.
That might be the case. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Maybe he just doesn't want to fold for a certain guy. Maybe he's just not pressured into giving a certain individual the amount that might be necessary in today's business. Or maybe he just doesn't view these talents as future assets. I don't know.
Again, he's going to have to weigh his options. He's going to have to pick and choose.
Yeah, we all trust. Yeah, digital dust. We all trust Khan, man.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on before the regular season hits. Probably even before the preseason hits.
Yeah.
Something to keep a real close eye on.
Right.
For sure. As we etch closer and closer to football time.
Yeah, man. Nathan Manko in the chat says, Dan and Rob, my ass is going to bed. See you guys when Steelers come around the corner, man. Nathan, thank you. You guys have a good night, man. Speaking of that, man, it's a quarter to midnight. It's almost 6:24.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that being said, anything else you want to say before we get on out of here?
Let's ride.
That's it?
What else is there to say?
I don't know. Maybe you had another talking point or something.
See, that's a problem with June coming up here, because
It's a quiet time.
we got OTAs tomorrow. OTAs finishing up tomorrow, but then next we got mandatory minicamp next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. After that, I'm just going to be a dead month.
Right.
I anticipate a dead month because training camp ain't till the end of July. So it's going to be a dead month unless some major news breaks. But then again, when does it ever around this time of year?
It doesn't. It's a dead time. It's mostly speculation.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. But whatever comes out or whatever we can just build up, we'll be here to talk about it. We'll be here to give you guys some live discussion. So, the news may not be there, but we'll keep you guys busy. We'll keep ourselves busy. We'll keep whatever we can think of going around, man. Especially with next month coming around, it's gonna be a busy month with training camp, obviously, and Steelers football pretty much right here. It's just we gotta wait another month and a half, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it'll be before you know it, man, because it's already June, bro. It's halfway through the year. My God, where's the time gone, bro?
Just yesterday it was January.
Yesterday,
What the hell happened?
Bro, yesterday it was the draft, right? At least I think so.
What the hell happened?
I think so. I don't know, man. Time's flying, but in a way, that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing because then we can start yelling at our TVs every Sunday. I can't wait for that. Just cannot wait.
I don't care if it's a preseason game. It's like Justin Fields, you make a bad throw. Come on, bro. Your career's on the line.
I could really go for a Panthers and a Bears Thursday night football game, bro. I swear to God.
God, were you that desperate?
Yeah, bro. Old ass Al Michaels having no energy whatsoever, bro. I could go for that.
Yeah, seeing Bryce Young and Caleb Williams, huh? The future of the NFL.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to watch?
Back-to-back number 1 overall picks. Isn't that a game this year?
I have no idea.
I think that's a game this year.
I really don't care.
I'd go for it right now, bro.
I guarantee you that game ain't going to be good.
I'd go for that. You know, wait, is the XFL still running or the UFL?
The playoffs, I think they hit.
I'll be real with you. I haven't watched one game this year.
I watched week 1. I'm like,
Spring football just doesn't do it for me.
nah.
And a lot of that has to do with there are no names. There's no watch value.
I can name
There's
you.
no one that I could go out of my way and watch.
I can name you one player, Anthony McFarland. Think he's is it the Vipers he's on or whatever?
So. I think so.
Apparently he's doing real good. Good for him.
No, I just can't put no. When you watch a football game, right? Even though we're desperate for football, but when you watch a football game or when you watch like what they advertise for like Thursday night or primetime or whatever, and you see like it's I don't know, for example, it's the Chiefs and then the Bills, or it's the Chiefs and the Cowboys or whatever, right? Like hell, I'm gonna watch that game because it's 2 good teams. You got household names to watch.
Yeah.
UFL, you have none of that. Like,
You
who
know
are
what?
these people?
Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to be looking at stats.
I think that's the biggest problem with spring football is that you don't know these teams. You don't know who they are. There's no reason. There's no watch value.
Okay, first of all, their website's screwed up. I'm at their stat page for passing statistics. When it comes to names, half the names are out the box. I don't even know what their first name is. Bro, they messed this crap up.
Hold on, what's the chat saying? The most I do for Daniels is 15, 16 mil per year. That's a double raise from 8 he currently makes. I think that's incredibly fair.
Yeah, I think that works.
Steelers cards, I would agree. That's incredibly
And you
fair.
know what? Maybe down the line, because of how young he still is, maybe he gets a bigger pay raise down the line.
Yeah.
That's a big
No,
possibility.
because he's still only 26, man. Yeah, you give him a 4-year deal, and he can still,
Bro, I'm locking that man down.
Bro.
You ain't going nowhere. You staying in the Steel City, bro. You protecting our quarterbacks.
Yeah. I'm feeling unlimited for this season. Didn't have to watch KP8 dance and miss throws. Yeah, thank God. That's all over, bro. That is all over.
Yeah, no more of me spinning around.
It's over.
Thank Christ.
It's over.
Yeah, I can't, what is it, Luis Perez of the Renegades?
Sometimes I wonder, how do we get through last year? You know what I mean?
Okay, so I can see the running back names, but not the quarterback names. What sense does that make?
Maybe they're longer. I don't know.
Hold on, wait. Is this year? Yes, this year. Hakeem Butler's back with the Battlehawks?
Dang, he was a Steeler last year.
He was. Deion Kane, who remembers him? He's with
Deion Kane.
Birmingham Stallions. Same with Jay Sternberger. They're having good
Jay
years.
Stern with 3 former Steelers right there.
Tyler Vaughn's our Arlington
Tyler
Renegades.
Tyler Vaughn's was a preseason warrior, man.
Well, look at. I don't know any of these running backs. I don't. I do not.
What about quarterbacks?
But I can't even see any of the quarterback names. Jordan Ta'amu,
Yeah, I know him.
DC Defenders.
They should have gotten Cardell Jones back.
Yeah. UFL doesn't look that exciting.
It's boring. It's absolutely boring.
Who made the playoffs? What happened?
Didn't they all? Don't they have like only 8 teams? How does this work? How do the playoff brackets work?
But the Houston Roughnecks suck. 1-9.
Okay, whoever plays for the Houston Roughnecks, you guys are not making a case to make an NFL roster. If you can't even make it in the minor league,
the Arlington Renegades are 3-7. That's for the XFL conference. USFL, yeah, the Houston Roughnecks are the worst.
1 win in a minor league, bro. And you wonder why you're playing in the UFL. God almighty.
Yeah, the St. Louis Battlehawks, San Antonio Brahmas, and the Michigan Panthers are 7-3. The Birmingham Stallions, who are back-to-back USFL champions, are 9-1.
I don't care. In fact, hold on.
We do not care.
There we go. There you go. You can always add incentives to Daniel's contracts as Byron Nelson. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, man. Like, there's ways around this. By the way, I can end this poll. 92% of Ians think that bringing back Cam Sutton is a good move. So we'll see. We'll see what that happens, man. But yeah, the XFL. There's no reason for me to watch. Like, I don't know these people. I don't know these teams. Like, there's just no. There's no like. What's the word I'm looking for?
Credibility.
There's nothing there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, the Rock can show up all he wants, but I'm just seeing the stands. I'm like, bro, like, it's not good. I watched
no
week
offense,
one.
bro.
And
No offense, bro. Why would I watch? People
Luis Perez, right?
Why would I watch people that couldn't make it to the NFL? It's almost like watching a whole season of preseason.
I don't know.
There's no names. There's no reason for me to go out and watch these games. There are no household. There are no big names there. It's not like the NFL.
Who's that Cowboys player? Turpine? He's the only guy that really made an impact coming from such a minor league. And made a name in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's the only guy. Cavanta Turpine, is that his name?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
He's the only guy that's done anything. Everybody else, I mean, forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. He can't body. That's it.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
I'm just not feeling it, man. It's a great. No, I'm not. It's a great opportunity for these guys because it gives them a chance, like Turpine, to
yeah, sure, absolutely. It's a great opportunity for these guys to get their names out there for a potential opportunity to get back into the big leagues.
As a viewer, I just find it incredibly.
Listen, I try, but after week one, I'm like, I'm not gonna make it.
That's my problem.
I'm not gonna make it.
Maybe I'll watch the playoffs. We'll see what happens. But Digital Dust says Patterson returning kickoffs will be exciting to see with new rules. Yes, that will be. It's gonna be interesting for him because he obviously is a legend in that area, and this is different for him. So I'll be very interested to see how he takes to this. And what's his name? Why am I thinking Jordan Dangerfield?
What's his number?
28. Miles Killebrew.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking of Jordan Dangerfield. Who remembers him? Miles Killebrew. He said that with the new kickoff
He wasn't
rule,
28.
I know he wasn't, but like anytime I think of special teams, I think it's Jordan Dangerfield for some reason. Anyway, Miles Killebrew, he said that the new special teams rule is unique, and like after they get past that first group, or if they ever get past that first group, like it's home run. Like you're not catching them.
Yeah.
So like he thinks it could add an extra bit of excitement to the games and more kickoff. He pretty much is saying it's going to be greater for special teams because it gives them more time to shine. It could be more of a game changer than it ever was.
Yeah.
And we already know like special teams can be so much of a game changer, but now with the way it's all molded out, like we could be seeing a lot more kickoffs, man.
We
a
could.
lot more kickoff returns.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a very game changing. And it's going to be interesting to see how like kickers translate, how the way they do kickoffs.
Yeah, because they got to get it within the certain like spot within a certain range.
They're going to have to force more touchbacks because obviously it's going to be tested in preseason. And if it has a lot of success from the returners aspect, this is going to force kickers to really up their game in the kickoff group to force touchbacks because they're not trying to give these guys the chance to change the game up.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of different things as far as special teams goes because the NFL is experimenting this for at least one season.
It's exciting, and I'm glad the Steelers are able to solidify the special teams unit. So it's going to be exciting, man. That's still like 2 months from now, but fuck it.
Yeah, special teams is locked down. Danny Smith is a happy motherfucker, munching on that gum and everything.
Yeah, bro. He got his kicker, he's got his punter, he's got his punt return, he's got his kick return, he's got his ace, he's got his captain, he's got his gunners.
He's got his gum.
Yeah, he's
got his gum. He's gonna be munching on that.
It's gonna be fun, man. But yeah, we're gonna end it here since it's pretty much midnight. So happy Thursday. I mean, for you West Coast folks, it might not be Thursday yet, but happy Thursday in 3 hours. You guys enjoy the rest of your night, man. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for joining us tonight on episode 79 of the Steeler Culture Podcast. A lot of interesting discussion tonight, man. Steelers bring back Cam Sutton. We talked about Cam Hayward coming back and what that can mean for him. Talked about his extension possibly coming, and of course, who else they could extend. So, a lot of great discussion tonight, man.
as well as the wide receiver market.
Yes. Some of these talking points might actually get clipped and uploaded as separate videos. Gotta figure out which ones, man. But a lot of great discussion. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll be back with another live stream shortly about another topic and discussion. We have a bunch of topics already written down.
Yeah, we got a full-on list of just discussions we want to get to.
So even though it's a dead time in the NFL, it's the offseason. It's the most boring time in the offseason because this is the time where nothing really happens. We got stuff to talk about. It's just getting in front of the camera, pressing record, pressing live, turning these mics on, and just
talking to you fine folks.
So, yeah, it's all about that, man. So you guys can look forward to that in the coming weeks and months as we lead all the way up into training camp, and I'm here for it. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week.
We're almost at the weekend. We're almost toward the weekend.
Almost there. It's Thursday. Tomorrow will be Friday officially, so we'll see what happens, man. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. See you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!